Okay, it's fuzzier. Okay, bear with me while I try to get myself tuned up, get as clear as I can get. Now, is it fuzzy because I should be wearing my glasses, or is it fuzzy because I could tune it up better? We're going with that quality of image. Alright. Part of my inspiration for this video is had a conversation with a relative who doesn't see eye to eye with me about the subject of immigration, what to do about it. And that got me thinking. Ann Coulter is great. Everyone should read all of her columns and buy all of her books. I have never heard anyone able to dispute her on the facts. I've heard her name calling against her, but nobody's ever been able to disprove the facts that she points out. Or nobody's tried to, because their opponents are all too immature to try that. But I'm leaning towards that they don't have anything they could counteract her facts with, because they don't exist. One thing Ann Coulter has pointed out is that libertarians need to, be realistic. And I agree. I like to some degree, I like libertarian philosophy, or some libertarians are very good at expounding principles of freedom. But when it comes to voting, sometimes some libertarians are just completely disconnected from reality. Here's one example of that. The welfare state exists in America. There are vast numbers of bureaucrats, agencies, that will cost a lot of money to the taxpayers and pay for people to not work, pay for people who can't take care of themselves, and pay for people to live pretty luxurious lives, even if they hurt themselves. So some libertarians, they talk and vote as if this welfare state doesn't exist. They say, well, what I do with my body is my business, so you should let me, do drugs that are going to kill my brain cells and make me, have the mentality of a small child. Well, no. Our current, one thing Ann Coulter said once was something like, first, let's get rid of the welfare state, and then we'll think about what you're saying. But a libertarian, it's just being stupid. I'm sorry, there's no other way to put it. And not attached to reality, if they are not taking into account and considering a massive welfare state that we have right now. If there wasn't this welfare state, and you had to live in a charity group home for people who hurt themselves in squalor, or at least your living conditions were dependent on whatever private donations people made after you killed your brain cells with drugs, then maybe you can make the argument that hurting yourself with drugs is your own business. And motorcycle helmet laws. If there's a motorcycle accident and you end up with the mentality of a 2-year-old because of brain damage, that wouldn't have happened if you had a helmet on, then you are not only hurting yourself, because there's a lot of these welfare agencies that will be giving you a lot of money, and yep. And some libertarians also talk about having, there was a debate I watched on YouTube that was put on by the Heritage Society, I think. Well, there was a Heritage Society intern, a Heritage Foundation intern, and a Cato Institute intern. The Cato Institute is libertarian, Heritage is conservative. these libertarian interns, or two on each side of the debate, were arguing for the complete repeal of every immigration law and let everyone come here, which I don't think they should have been there. That's not a libertarian position. That's at least that is in contradiction to the core principles that most libertarians will describe to you if you ask them to describe the principles, not name issues and say how the principles apply, but just name what the core principles are that they base their decisions and thought on. Aren't libertarians supposed to be for limited minimum government, but still some government? Well, immigration laws is a minimum government thing. It's in the Constitution. It wasn't added to the Constitution in 1800 and something, or 1900 and something. It was there from day one in the Constitution. This Constitution that was supposed to limit federal power, give it a very short list, and 9th and 10th Amendments say that we got this short list, nothing more. So libertarianism would be doing those things. You know, if you don't have any immigration laws and anyone gets to come, that is anarchy. That's not libertarianism. And he's, somebody who claims to be a libertarian and argues for open borders is again ignoring the massive welfare state. If there wasn't all this welfare state and then the immigrant had to earn their own money, wasn't going to get food stamps, wasn't going to get all these other government programs, money thrown at them by different welfare or programs, then you'd have an argument. Then I could understand you saying we should open up the borders, loosen things up. Maybe I could still understand that. And another thing, the way that libertarians are, sometimes some libertarians are detached from reality, the economic law of supply and demand is a law. What does law mean when we're talking about economics and science? That means it happens. There's no exceptions to it. You know, a theory is somebody's idea that we're not sure yet. They haven't done a lot of testing on it. Haven't done a lot of testing on it, or there's reasonable doubts about it. There's no reasonable doubt about the law of supply and demand. Whenever the demand, what people are willing to pay, goes up when the supply gets low, and goes down when the supply gets low. The best example of that is sometimes we call things dirt cheap. That's because dirt's everywhere. So you're not going to have to pay a lot of money for dirt. If there's a guy that tries to charge you $10,000 for a square foot of his dirt, you can laugh at him, walk away, and know you're going to find somebody else that will charge you almost nothing for his dirt. Unless there's some special chemical like gold in the dirt, or it's, there is, when they built the World Trade Center, they did have a special clay because it had a specific density. Even then, I'm sure they didn't pay as much for that clay that they used in the construction process as they would have for that many pounds of gold or silver. So what are the specific things libertarians or people claiming to be libertarians have said or done when it comes to ignoring supply and demand? Well, drugs. Legalize drugs. People won't be doing them more often. Really? No. If the supply goes down, it's a law. People are going to demand more. You will have more people doing drugs if you, you know, can get a kilo of cocaine for $2 or $3. Of course there will be more people doing drugs in that scenario. And when it comes to immigration, these anarchists who call themselves libertarians act as if there's no supply and demand, but if if you flood the labor market with manual laborers, guess what? Demand goes down. People that own a business know they're going to find somebody to work for less. If you make it easy to get H-1B visas, then Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg are going to use the laws of supply and demand to pay Indians almost nothing compared to what an American would demand after going to school for ever many years to get a college degree in computer science. Thank you for listening to me speak about this, Libertarians, please. I think grow up is the worst hand culture used in one instance that I heard, but please be attached to reality. When we get rid of the welfare state, then we can talk about some other things. But you need to be like Rand Paul and try to influence the Republican Party one way, because that's your best hope of actually getting government to shrink down. Have a good day.